How's it going, everyone? Maximilian here with the first of many changelog videos that'll be going over the prior vanilla cast changes in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Today we're going to be covering 5 characters from the Marvel side of the cast, and there will be several more videos down the line covering the rest. So let's get started and see what's changed with the first character, SheHulk. The first noted change is that SheHulk became a heavier character. You're going to notice this in some of her jump arcs and in some situations how she gets hit by the opponent in the air. She'll drop faster. It kind of reminds me how Iron Man falls to the ground really quick. The next big change is that her crouching L can no longer be rapid fired. It's not easy to, well, you can't actually rapid fire it into hit confirming combo. You have to adjust to light, medium, heavy crouching and then go into your combo. Her ground slide also got severely hurt as far as the distance. I think it travels at least half the distance now, and as you can see from these examples, you can't randomly just throw it out from mid-screen and expect it to hit because it just won't. Next up is her brand new move, which is the Savage Swing. She pulls out a lamppost from absolutely nowhere and clocks the opponent and they go flying into the wall. But as you're seeing right here, the problem with that is that it takes away your precious wall bounce, and you need that wall bounce for future combos, especially with SheHulk. One of the next big changes is that if you let runners start just fully activate and go out, SheHulk will actually gain super armor to up to 3 hits. If you transition quickly into the follow-ups, you'll actually retain the super armor, but if you transition into something like her launcher, you're gonna lose it. The next couple will make doing combos with SheHulk a little bit easier, as Torpedo and Clothesline from running start transition faster. And if you hit the opponent with the Torpedo, it actually now causes a wall bounce which you could use to follow up for further combos. So comboing with SheHulk is going to be a little bit different if you want to get that extended damage in Ultimate. Also, if you hit the opponent with a Torpedo, they pop back much further, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to cancel the runner stance into a launcher. If anything, it's a lot easier in the corner, but from mid-screen it's pretty difficult. And an interesting change to her hypers is that her Emerald Cannon now jumps and lunges forward like a proper drop kick. If you remember in Vanilla, she would pretty much go vertically and that was it, but now she leaps up and forward with this hyper, and it'll sometimes cause the hyper to cross over in the air for the follow-up damage. That'll just about do it for SheHulk, so let's move on to Dormammu. The first small but useful change is that Dormammu's ground chains can actually be hit up to 3 times, so he actually has proper ABC combos on the ground now. His light attack is said to have greater pushback. I didn't play too much Dormammu, so I'm not too sure exactly how much this pushback is taking effect in this one. Dark Matter can now also be cancelled, so this is an extremely tricky tool that they gave Dormammu. Throwing one of these out, and if you had select assists or teleporting right behind it, can be very hard to block if the teleport is timed correctly. These can be some really ambiguous situations. But one of the things that I think Dormammu needed removed was that Flame Carpet will now disappear if he's hit. So anytime he gets a single hit, Flame Carpet vanishes, but don't feel too bad. Flame Carpet is still really good. It's not like the early versions of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 preview builds, where it was almost complete garbage. It's actually very useful, and it juggles very similar to Vanilla. Normal throws now cause untechable knockdowns, so it's much easier to follow up with further combos if you have assists, or do Pillar into Chaotic Flame. Dark Spell and Liberation can now be performed in the air, which allows Dormammu to have many more unique setups than he did in the first one. Essentially, you needed assist to cover yourself in Vanilla, but now he can do stuff in the air, he can fly and charge Dark Spell and Liberation, so he becomes a threat. Anytime he lands on the ground, you better believe that any normal Dormammu player is going to be charging in the air and will land and do the gigantic screen explosion or anything else. Another interesting change is that Liberation with 2 reds and 1 blue now activates on the very first frame. I think before in Vanilla, if you touched Dormammu, it would knock him completely out of the move and nothing would happen if he was touched at all. 2 reds and 1 blue now causes an untechable knockdown as well, and the rocks and the pillar itself comes out much slower, but the damage has been greatly increased, as you can see from the examples on screen right now. Another interesting change is that some of Dormammu's air combo capability has been altered. Using the corner, you can see an example right here. Next up is Magneto, and while you might be expecting a huge nerf wagon to come this guy's way, you'd be surprised that Magneto is still really good. He lost a little bit of his potential as far as easy damage and output combos, but at the same time you can still do a lot of his loops and his mid-screen juggles for a lot of extended damage. They're just a little bit more difficult to pull off. Standing heavy no longer causes untechable knockdowns, and his aerial forward tri-dash speed has been decreased a lot, so the timing for pulling off these combos is much more sensitive. His light and medium disruptors have also been increased by total frames, so this means that the amount of recovery time for the light and medium versions of this projectile are much greater than they were in the original game. If anything, the block stun also from Disruptor allows opponents to slowly sneak their way in, since you're not soaked up in the block stun, and Magneto now has time to, or is now forced to recover longer from these projectiles. It actually gives you a better opportunity to get in on him while he's throwing these out. He was given some brand new specials, which is Fatal Attraction, Repulsion, and Reverse Polarity. Essentially, it's a non-physical attack that just grabs the opponent, pulls them down, pushes them back, or pulls them forward. And as you can see here with the Doom Foot Dive, it can severely adjust if people are trying to get in on you, or if you want to keep them away. Magnetic Tempest also lost all of its invincibility frames at the start. Before, I think it was hard to hit him out and the rocks would actually chip you in vanilla, but now if you go for a throw, or if you just try to hit Magneto as soon as he pulls off the command, you'll go into a free combo. So now let's take a look at the big green guy, or in this case the big blue guy, Hulk. Hulk got a brand new move and it's called Incredible Punch. It's a large physical attack that if on contact, it'll throw the opponent into the corner. However, it's difficult to combo into this, and you could cancel it off a variety of like light and medium attacks. The interesting thing about it is that you can cancel it into other moves, for example, his Tornado Throw. Gamma Charge was also given greater hit priority, and it essentially means that it's really hard to knock him out of the Gamma Charge, and even though its hitbox seemed really good in the first one, it's even better here. It also now has 1 point of super armor. So on this example, you can see a finger laser hits him once and he'll just soak it up and keep going through, but if anything other than one hit comes in contact, he gets knocked right out of it. Gamma Charge Second also floats higher, and Anti-Air Gamma Charge Second Medium causes a wall bounce now, so this is even easier for extended combo potential for Hulk to get the most damage out of him. The charge time needed to perform Gamma Wave was also decreased. Essentially, all it allowed was, instead of the window of opportunity for you to charge back and then go forward for this projectile, you can now do it even faster in this one. Another interesting one is that the Gamma Tornado was buffed. It does more damage, and if you're able to land it with yourself in the corner, it allows you to easily follow up for a full combo. And since the Tornado does 200k by itself now, it's some pretty devastating damage. Next up is someone you definitely should be afraid of, and it's Dr. Doom. His air dashes and air backdashes seem to have been heightened a little bit, and by heightened I mean they're a little bit quicker. He seems a little bit faster in general, but the real interesting thing is that a lot of characters in this game had their hit stun have different properties than the vanilla cast. However, Dr. Doom seems to be able to pull off all of the similar chains and all of the similar air loop combos that he was in the first game. His back throw now also causes a hard knockdown, and it gives you a huge window of opportunity to press standing H and follow up with a combo. But the thing you're going to have to be really careful with when playing against Dr. Doom now is his jumping S. His jumping S now causes a ground bounce, and it gives you a huge window of opportunity, just like the throw, to follow up for a standing H into combo. That follow-up is going to be pretty easy for most players, and it leads to an easy 500 to 600k damage. The next interesting buff was for Doom's laser, and essentially it causes more hit stun and has better frame advantage. In this situation, you can follow up for a pretty easy jump-up combo if you're able to pull yourself back down and go up for a launcher again. But in the first game, it was almost useless. You can use it in some situations to zone out enemies, but it wasn't that good. And the final change is a little bit of a nerf, but it's kind of hard to notice, and it's that his jumping photon shot active frames were reduced. I really haven't seen this take much effect while playing the game, so you wouldn't have to be worried about it too much. And that'll just about do it for the first 5 characters from the vanilla cast of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Leave a comment below of who you'd like to see in the next video, as we'll be covering 5 more Marvel characters, and I appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, as you'll be notified as soon as that video is available. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.
Player 2 wins!
No one defeats Doom!